Things are certainly becoming more interesting as the night goes on. As the two of you have begun to explore this strange house, it is becoming clear that there is something very wrong with this place. With the guidance of the Weathermay Foxgrove twins, you have begun to try and communicate with the spirits of this place, perhaps hoping to find some answers as to what has truly happened here. As the room falls deadly quiet, you can certainly feel a presence now. You are definitely no longer alone in this room. Laurie looks around and then looks to you, Alto, and says, "You, say something. Ask a question."
Oh, who are we communing with this night?
You feel the crystal begin to move very slowly along the board. It kind of hovers a little and goes to, you realize, as well as letters, there are also the words yes and no on this board. And the crystal moves to yes.
Yes. I look at the others.
Laurie looks at you a little irritated, and you see Jennifer is almost in some sort of trance, so she says, "Be a little more specific. It needs to communicate through the board. Try and something simple questions."
Are you Lady Silver?
Are you Lady Silverath?
The crystal slowly moves, very slowly, to no.
Did you know hers?
It doesn't move.
Can we help you?
You suddenly feel a lot of force as the crystal goes back to yes very quickly suddenly. Laurie nods. "You're doing well. It's good. You're building something. A spirit normally likes to pick one person to interact with in this manner. Keep asking questions. This is good."
I gasp as it moves so forcefully all of a sudden, and then I nod to her words. Can we help you from this room?
Suddenly, the glass begins to move very quickly over the letters, spelling something out. As this happens, you notice Laurie, with her free hand, quickly actually has a pen and begins writing them down quickly, like, "Okay, don't worry, I've got it. A sentence is spelled out, and just as it finishes spelling out the sentence, the candles in the room go out, and there is darkness for a few seconds before they come up again. The sentence spelled says, "Go back to tower. Call out." And then there's some sort of name. You think it's something like, maybe Vittorio? Bit of a strange name.
I feel my scales tightening as they do when well, that would be my equivalent of goosebumps. We've been to the towers. Something tried to push us down.
You have. Well, clearly there was something there. At this point, Laurie removes her hand from the crystal. "Jennifer, are you alright?" Jennifer kind of looks a bit out of it. "Yes, no, I'm fine, sorry. Oh, it takes a little bit out of me doing that sort of thing." "That's alright, Laurie. You stay here and rest. You two, do you think you're alright? I don't want to leave her by herself, but if you go back to this tower, that spirit there must have been something you missed."
I look excited. Well, we didn't know this name. We didn't know what to call out. And I look over to Alto.
Yes, we know more now. Perhaps we can try this. Perhaps it'll work. Perhaps we can establish communication.
That sounds like a good idea. Alright, you two, head there, but don't do anything risky, okay? If you need help, call for me. I'll come, but I'll just stay here for the moment with Jennifer. Jennifer, you see, does look like she wants to protest, but is quite out of it. And then she says, "Right, yeah, you go there, and this is good. If we can establish a proper communication with the spirit, get it to trust us in some way, might be able to tell us a little bit more about what's going on around here, and then we can move forward from there."
I stand up and I give a wince as I am reminded of my aching head. And I kneel down to reach from my pack, and I reach for the enchanted water that I use for headaches. Yes, this should take effect in a bit. Let's go.
Yeah.
And you go. Do you go straight back to that tower? It's not too far from here.
I think so. That's where we need to go, right? The tower.
Yes. Yes, where else? It would be through the galleries.
Yes.
And I look down over her shoulder to look at the notes again. What did they say? Go to the tower and call...
Vittorio. Go to the tower and call Vittorio. Again, it's a little bit spelt oddly, but you think that's what it says.
Vittorio. Vittorios. Yes. And as we go, I look at the different portraits, and I still try to see if there's a name plaque of any kind on them, or perhaps on the statue that we saw on the way there.
There are none.
I certainly hope the Vittorio isn't the man with the battle axe.
Yes, well, maybe he's one of those looking tough but being just kind of... or pushing people down the stairs kind of spirits. I'm not sure.
I definitely don't want to see him again.
You quickly move back through those dark halls and back once again to that tower. Again, Alto, just as you pass that bookcase, a scratching in the walls. And then you are in that space, once again, this dark tower space. What do?
We need to call for Vittorio, right?
It's up here, I think. Maybe from the tops?
Would make sense. Let's try that.
We call him out into the landscape towards the moons.
Bex, you begin climbing up the tower quickly, and once again you're at the top of this three-storied tower, looking over at the dark night. What do?
Are the others there with me?
I have followed.
Alto joins you upstairs, and yes, the two of you once again are up in this tower.
So none of the sisters went with us?
No. Again, Jennifer was looking a little woozy, and Laurie said she was going to stay and look out for her, but to call if you needed her.
Maybe we should have asked them for some more instructions, but at least something was talking to me, yes? I look at Alto in a question.
Yes, the spirits were reaching out through that board. Yes, we were in contact with something.
And even with the dried blood on some of my scales where it had slipped in between the cracks, you see me in the moonlight, looking at you, looking excited, as if this is genuinely fun despite my injuries. I look a bit manic, perhaps, to you.
You seem to be enjoying this.
Yes, it is fun. I put my hands on the railing, or whatever is encircling this tower, and I call out, on this dark night, we call Vittorios.
Also, you hear a sound coming from above, and then you hear a scream. Something screams from above you, and then the scream kind of goes past you. It's as if someone just fell down the stairs? It's like the scream, you can hear it coming from above and then just descending down, this ear-piercing wail, and crashing down below. Something. What do?
What was that? I try to move towards that sound.
I follow you.
You quickly begin making your way down the stairs, going back down to the ground level. But there's nothing here. There's nothing here. You can't see anything.
It sounded like someone fell down.
Vittorios?
Suddenly, you see something move towards you. A strange shape, indistinct, tall, and it bellows at you as you see his tortured-looking face and some sort of hands and limbs as this thing descends upon you. Could you please both roll initiative?
4.
17.
Bex, you see this strange, tall, spectral-like being suddenly emerge from the floor and rush towards you, arms outstretched. What do?
I hold my hands up in front of me, and I cry out, Stops! We are not here to fight, we are here to help!
The being lunges towards you and drives its spectral hands into your neck and begins trying to choke the life out of you. However, you manage to just step back almost instinctively as its hands, grasping for your throat, just pass just inches from your throat. Alto, what do? The being is attempting to attack Bex, who has just managed to sidestep out of the way of this spectral being. What do you do?
I unleash magic missiles towards it, trying to harm it, trying to force it away.
Indeed you do. Please roll your damage, as your magic missiles, of course, always hit. How many do you fire?
I use it on level 1. 5 damage.
The being wails as these magical bolts of energy hit it dead center. It kind of shivers a little in the air, fluctuating. You think for a moment you can see, again, it's a very large being, like someone 6 or 7 foot tall, and their neck kind of moves in a kind of cracking motion, as if something is broken. Bex, it is your turn. What do? The being is currently being affected, it seems, by the magic spell. That makes sense. They are affected a little by magic ghost, you think?
As I step back, I whirl around, and I cry out again, "Stops, we're here to..." As I do, I still conjure up a firebolt in my hand, and I throw it at it.
Roll to attack.
That is a 19.
That is a hit. Roll damage.
19. Stops!
You throw your bolt of fire to this being. It envelops it in flame. The being screams in anger and pain as it flails forward, madly, wildly. It comes for you again, Bex. But its flails miss you entirely as it just sort of is clearly very distracted by this fire that's currently consuming it. Alto, it is your turn. What do? The being definitely looks like it's being harmed very badly.
I again unleash magic missiles. It seems to be working.
Roll your damage for how many you fire.
That's 4 damage.
And finally, the being just sort of staggers back into a wall and dissipates in a scream of anguish and rage. And you're all just standing there for a moment and it's gone.
We did it.
You think that's what we supposed to do? To fight this being they called for us?
It didn't seem to be particularly friendly.
I blink a bit from the light, having been there with the fire and now coming back to the darkness, and I move forward to see if it left any sort of remains.
No, there is nothing there. At this point you hear Laurie from behind, coming in quickly, sword drawn. What's going on? Are you alright? What was that?
We were fighting something tall. He was trying to choke us. Does this look like anything you saw before? I say to Altos.
Did it? Did it remind me of any of the beings I've seen so far?
No, not really. I mean, you couldn't really make much details, but it was very tall, and again, something about its neck. It had like a big neck, but it was cracking, like it was broken or something.
Very tall, like something strange about its neck. No, I hadn't seen it before.
Maybe he has been hung. I look over to our new company, the girl.
Well, maybe, or... Well, it doesn't really matter. It looks like you dealt with it. Well done! Oh, well done! Yes, good. I suppose, yes, if it was attacking you like that, there was probably no reasoning it, I'm afraid. But at least, if you've dispersed it for now, well, at least that's one less to worry about.
I start going to the other chamber, if that's what she seems intent on too, and I say, well, yes, I tried talking to it.
Well, good for you. Again, unfortunately, many of the dead cannot be reasoned with anymore, especially if they died in violent manners. So all we can do is move them on to the mists, as many as we can. Good. Well, so this came forward when you said the Vittorio thing?
Yes.
Right. Well, I think we've made some progress then. Alright, I'll see if Jennifer's feeling up for it. We can maybe try a second communication. We've done what it wanted, right? That must be it. This could be key to helping the spirit of this house, whatever it wants. Maybe that was their attacker, or their murderer, or something. I'm not entirely sure. What do you think?
Yes, maybe This is how they are destroyed? I'm not sure I know these things.
Well, it depends on the nature of the spirit. It's possible it's only been dispersed for a short period of time, but, well, if you use proper magic on it, it might be you may have properly disapparated it. Then it hopefully will move on to the mists.
The only one I fight before was with Seeker Altos. He was tied to physical objects, but maybe this is not always the case?
No, not always the case. Sometimes it's a place, sometimes it's people, sometimes it's unfinished business, and again it depends on the nature of the spirit or spectre. The more powerful ones need a little more dealing with, but it seems like this one, luckily for you, was maybe a minor one? But I don't know. It looks like you two can handle yourselves after all. Well done. Good work, good work.
I look over to Alto, I say, I was a bit lucky. I got very good hits.
Yeah, we were both lucky that happened, yes.
Right, well, let's head back to the parlour then.
What exactly did you hear, Altos?
I just heard someone falling, like as though they were falling down the stairs or something. It was very strange, as if someone had been spying on us or something like that and got surprised and ran off. I'm not sure.
Maybe that's how he died, Stens. He fell down the stairs, that's why his neck is crooked.
That could explain it. It would be a pathetic way to die.
Yes. No wonder you'll be lingering.
What do you do? At this point, Laurie has left you. She's moving quickly back to the parlour, and again, you're just standing there in this darkness. But again, you can just hear these whispers all around you picking up.
I don't want to be left alone again. Let's go.
I almost didn't realize I had stopped, and I follow after Alto hurriedly.
You once again find yourself in the parlour. Jennifer greets you with a tired smile. You two all right? It sounds like you found at least one spirit. Put it to rest.
Yes, we did. You look very tired. Maybe you need some rest.
Well, I think we can... I think Laurie's right. We should try one more communication this evening, and then we can... We'll get our notes together and we'll try again. But I'm up for one more try. All right, sister, but again, it's draining. We probably won't be able to do much more after this. But that's all right. We can take our steps, go outside, eat some food, maybe even get a bit of rest, and then continue tomorrow.
I shrug and I go and I sit by the table again. Who is doing it this time then? Or does it have to be the same?
I think in this case it's best it's you again, Bex. You seem to get a bit of a rapport going, so let's go with that, no?
I follow up then.
Laurie nods, seeming quite confident in her decision here, and again you begin this little ceremony with Jennifer straining a little, but again being able to make the correct incantations, it seems, that help activate this process. You think to yourself, Alto, that it doesn't sound too complicated actually, but you are familiar with the spells, so it would take you... You think you could copy her eventually, but you don't know what she's doing at this point in time.
No. Best to leave it to the professionals.
And once again the room dims, and you feel a presence, Bex. What do you do?
We have called, as you asked. Are you pleased?
Slowly, the glass moves to yes. And then quickly, WELLDONE. Well done.
Thank you. Now, who are we communing with?
The letters this time spell out Halverst. Halvrest even, you think. And Laurie nods, remarking, Okay. So there we go, it's one of the family. Well, at least that's what it's saying. That's a good sign, I think.
Is the house at peace now?
Very quickly, no.
Can we help more?
Yes!
What must we do?
Again, there's a bit of agitation. It starts moving around quite erratically. You notice Laurie saying like, It's okay, Spirit, we are here to help. You can slow down.
Yes. Calm. Helpful, yes. I lick my lips.
Again, Alto, how are you feeling, by the way, as this all goes on?
Not good. I am still hurting from the flames, and I'm not comfortable being around these spirits, but Well, now we're here, and this seems to be our best chance at... I don't know. Maybe there is something here. Something to learn, maybe. I'm not sure.
And again, a word is quickly spelled out rather rapidly. This time, you think it reads, as Laurie finishes writing it, upstairs, chimney, bathroom, call Agatha. And then again, there's a bit of darkness, although you still feel something, Bex. Maybe you could ask another question.
Is she friendly?
This time, the crystal moves to a different symbol. As well as the letters and yes or no, there is also a strange skull symbol near a moon that just is at the top, and it just moves to this skull.
Did you like her?
The room shudders a little suddenly, and then the candles go black and light up again. And then there is nothing, no movement.
Is the presence gone?
You think so. Laurie remarks, it was a little strange.
She must have been important to this... what was the name again?
I believe the name was someone called Agatha. There are some in the notation. The Halvarest obviously did have some servants, but their names are lost.
Halvarest wants us to call Agatha. Yes. Someone important for them, perhaps. Do you have any notes of family trees?
Well, I mean, so Lauren Halvarest was the owner of the house. I believe she peers down at her notes. Yes, he was setting up a little bit of a trading post here, using it to contact Mordenshire and some of the other towns. Again, it's maybe quite some time ago. I think obviously they came from one of the noble lines, you know. But beyond that, I don't have that much information.
Well, this one's different. What does this skull means? It looks slightly foreboding.
Jennifer looks up and nods. Yes, no, it's not a very good sign. Normally something dangerous or bad. Probably again. Sister, what do you think? It's a little bit confusing. Does it want us to... did they maybe cause the problem here, these individuals? Laurie shrugs. I'm not entirely sure, Jennifer. This is a little strange. But I guess there's no harm in potentially getting a bit more... Maybe we can get a bit more information if we do one more thing, but we should be careful here.
Was there a does this make any sense? Like upstairs bathroom chimney?
There are definitely stairs that head upwards. From outside, you're pretty sure this building had at least 3 floors.
And we've only been perimeter checking the first one.
Correct.
Well, there's a lot of the house left still to see. Let's maybe follow the chimney, I say, and I look at the one that is in this room. Perhaps it's connected, or, well, it must be connected to the upstairs.
Laurie moves forward and nods a little, saying, that does make sense, although, She then takes out some sort of device from her coat. A strange bronze thing. You, Alto, think, is that clockwork? How fascinating. You've seen clockwork before. The gnomes are very good at it. It's a strange clockwork device. How intriguing. What do you do?
It catches my interest. I move up to look at it. What is this?
Oh, that's my watch. She shows you this device. It's a strange device with hands made of bronze, and they go along numbers. You're not sure what these numbers mean, though. There's also these other little symbols as well, but yes, it seems to be some sort of device that has information on it. You don't know what the information really means.
What do you use it for?
Oh, telling the time? Have you not seen these before? It's a nice little gadget. It tells the hours of the day, and, basically it's getting very late. Dawn will come soon.
You keep track of the hours with numbers?
Yes. Don't you? Granted, there aren't that many. I mean, we are... Well, the Weathermay Foxgrove family is... Well, our mother is the mayor of
Mordenshire. We are a noble family ourselves, in case that wasn't obvious.
I look at Alto as if this was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's, we measure in bells, right?
Bells and, positioning of the sun, of course. This is known.
Well, yes, those things work as well, but I mean, this is a useful gadget that does the same thing, really.
Seems very practical.
Thank you. Anyway, my point is, I think we should rest for a while. Jennifer sighs a little. Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. Yes, it can take quite a lot out of you communing with spirits. Besides, as we get close to the dawn hours, it's likely the spirits of the house will become a bit more dormant, which is fine, but then we won't be able to learn much anyway.
Alright, we can rest now. I feel slightly excited.
You do at this point, again, feel a bit of a stinging in your ear.
And I wince and close one of my eyes.
I too am tired. Yes, some rest would be good before we continue.
And with that, you were actually led back outside the house. And you notice, Alto, as you look to the horizon, that the sun is coming up. It's a very grey sun, and the sky is overcast and gloomy. And again, those mists are still all around you, but they almost don't look so bad now as the morning comes. You didn't realise it was this early or late, to be honest. And as you start leaving the house, you see its aged splendour, how once it perhaps actually was quite a magnificent house before this happened to it, whatever has happened to it.
Clearly some effort was put into building this place, and as you saw from that vision, Alto, there was definitely once life here. Though now, the house is beginning to sag and rot. You wonder how much longer the wood will hold the place together before the main building itself begins to slowly collapse and fall away. As the sun comes up, the shadows made by the house don't seem to recede at all. It is as if they do not care for the coming of the light. As you both turn away from the house, both of you can still feel something watching you. It's almost as if something somewhere on the upper floors is observing you, waiting to see what you will do next.
I look to the sun. At least that's the same. Good. Let's make camp by their carriage, huh?
I agree. Let's do that. And I look at the sisters as we're being led. Are there many dragonborn in this country?
Laurie looks at you a little and squints. Oh, is that what you're calling yourself? I think I've seen one or two like you before in our travels, but no, not really, unfortunately.
I straighten up, as if I just received a great compliment.
Still, it seems like it was fortuitous meeting you both. You're definitely helping. Alright, let's get some rest, and then tomorrow evening, hopefully we can explore more of the house and find out what this spirit wants. Although, something's a little off. I'm not quite sure what. What do you mean, sister? It's a bit weird what the ghost wants of us is all. Well...
How so?
Why does it want us to go around finding other people? I mean, that's a bit strange, isn't it?
Yes. One ghost wanting other ghosts to be... I don't know, disposed of? Taken care of? Are these other ghosts keeping it from finding its own rest? Or are they perhaps encroaching on its domains and they want all the power or whatever for themselves, yes?
Laurie just nods and begins making her way back to the wagon. She quickly takes out a few things you notice from the wagon, some sleeping bags and a little bit of shelter. She even throws you a bit of food. Alto, you are feeling very tired, you suddenly realise. Really, you're suddenly finding it quite hard to stay awake.
Yes. I need to lay down.
And you do so. Quickly help to make a bit of a makeshift bed, and before you fall asleep, Laurie actually gets a little fire started as well with some wood. What about you, Bex? You are also feeling very, very tired.
I fold up my things, and well, it's still quite cold, isn't it?
Yes. Well, this fire helps a little bit.
It does, but I don't undress too much, just get rid of the equipment, and I try to warm some, if there are any rocks nearby, I like to warm them in the fire and then sleep with them around me if I can.
You certainly can find some rocks, and you are able to easily warm them up and make yourself a little spot. Before the pair of you fall asleep, Rory comes over, offering some basic rations, some sort of dried meat. She says, "Right, you two, well, eat this and then try and get some sleep. Don't worry, I'll keep a watch for a few hours more." At this point, Jennifer comes out of the wagon and starts walking around the area you're setting up your camp, describing a few runes into the ground. Alto, you can recognize these easily enough. They are wards of some kind. Jennifer nods to you as she says, "Well, these should keep out basic spirits, just in case something tries to disturb you while you're sleeping. Granted, they're only basic, but hopefully," she says, looking around, "hopefully there won't be anything too dangerous out here, at least not for the foreseeable next few hours. All right then, try and sleep well." Jennifer goes back into the wagon, and Laurie nods and finds a little stump, which she then sits on. She takes out a little flask of something and takes a slow drink before remarking, "All right, you two, well, sleep well. Try not to let the bedbugs bite and all that." And so, even though it's rather uncomfortable, you do eventually, slowly manage to drift off to sleep. It seems a little strange at first. How could anyone fall asleep in such an unsettling place? But for some reason, something seems to relax you, and you both just fall into a deep, dark sleep.
Bex, you dream a dark dream. In this dream, you think you are in some room, and you look to your left, and there's someone looking quite panicked to the left of you. There's this man, he just reaches for you and says, "Oh my goodness, what are we going to do? What are we going to do?" And then there's a woman as well, and they're all dressed in very nice clothes, very fancy clothes, and it's dark, you can't see anything. What do you do?
Do I remember anything of what just happened, or is this just taking me somewhere completely different?
You don't know. You can't see anything. You suddenly realize your hands and legs are bound. Your hands and legs are bound. You can't stand up.
Let me go.
And you hear around you other voices. "Let us go. Yes, let us go. Please, let us go. Let us go." And then you just notice that there's some light. Yeah, there's some light. You can't get to it though, but you hear the sound of a brick. There's a brick, and then another brick, and that light is just getting fainter and fainter as these bricks just start. Someone is putting bricks in front of this light. What do you do?
No, stop. Don't put us in here. Don't put us in here. I start to panic. I try to wriggle loose.
But you can't, because you realise you've been tied to everyone else, and they're kicking against you, and you're kicking against them and scratching, and people are panicking, and you just see beyond one little speck of light, and you just see this helmet with a skull, and just this laugh. "Have fun in there, boys! Have fun!" And then the last brick goes in, and it's just darkness, and people panicking and screaming, and you can't move, Bex. You can't move. What do?
I scream and shout with frustration. I try to cast spells. Can I?
No, you can't move your hands. You need your hands for most of the gestures, and you can't even speak because someone's kicking you in the face, and all you can do is scream, Bex, because you know you've been bricked in. You've been bricked in, and no one's going to come for any of you ever again.
I scream in frustration as I try to scream for the others to shut up. I try to use my meta magic, my sorcery, to channel into subtle spells without using somatic or verbal components.
And you try, but it just doesn't work, and you just hear this screaming and laughing, and you just see a rotting face of one of these corpses thrust into yours, and you look, and you see you are rotting, and you are dying, and you die in the walls, Bex, you die in the walls.
I don't want to die in here. And I don't exist.
No. Alto, you are sitting at a dining table, and there is all this food, beautiful food, laid out before you, and you look around, and there are people dressed in fine clothes, lords and ladies, and you are dressed in fine clothes as well. What do? You're in this lovely dining room with these lit candles on the table.
I stand up, not knowing where I am. This is wrong. I begin backing away from the table. No.
You try that, but you realise you can't get up. You try to get out of the chair, but you're really drowsy. Really very, very drowsy. You just fall back into the chair. It's very difficult to move.
I just look then, in horror at this thing that I'm now a part of. Not supposed to be a part of it.
The other people are around you as well, and they look strange as well. Like, you see a man kind of dribbling a little, and he's reaching for you, but he can't reach for you, and a woman is just looking panicked, and there's one right next to you, and she's just saying, my lady, I'm so sorry. We didn't have a choice. We didn't have a choice. Please forgive us. Please forgive us. Please. What do?
And you just nothing to be forgiven. I forgive you. Of course.
You feel suddenly a sword lightly running behind your neck, and there's someone behind you. You can't quite see them. They lean in and they whisper in a feminine voice, "And who said you could grant forgiveness? I am the lady of the house."
Who are you? Why have you taken me here?
Will you beg for mercy? Will you tell me to my face that I am being unfair? That you didn't know any better? Will you tell me that to my face?
I suppose I have to. I did not know any better.
You did not know any better. Did you hear that, everyone? And they all nod and mutter like, "Yes, we didn't know any better! Please, yes, forgive us!" And then you see red. You look to your left, and someone's head flies off their shoulders as a great blade just cleaves straight through their head, and it rolls onto the table, rolling through the dinner plates. Blood everywhere. Then to your right again, another thunk as another woman just falls to the table, a sword straight through her chest. What do, Alto?
I try to run, but I can't.
No, you can't. And you feel a sword from behind and a whisper in your ear. "Traitors! All of you traitors!" And a sword is plunged through your heart, and you scream as you fall to the table. Your vision begins to blur as everything becomes hard to see, but you're just dimly aware of movement. And then you're in some sort of cupboard or a hole, you're not quite sure, but you're being pressed in with corpses, rotting corpses. You come face to face with something you've seen before. The skull helmet. There's a man here, the man wearing the skull helmet, but he's rotting and dead, just like everyone else. And as you're shoved against him, you just hear the sound of scratching. No, not scratching. Bricks. Bricks slowly being pushed into place, and everything goes dark as you die in the walls.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we played House of Lament from Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. The music was created by Metatron Omega, Wordclock, and Flowers for Body Snatchers, and was used with permission from their label, Cryochamber. Check them out at crychamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for more music for your table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon: Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Ludwig Manford, and Bob DeLange for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. And remember, dread awaits beyond the mists.